Hey guys, Technomentary here with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the iPhone 7 in 2021 and if it's worth buying it or still using the iPhone 7 in 2021. We're going to talk about the hardware, the software, and finally answer that question if it's really worth it or not. But before we go ahead and get started with today's video, if you guys are new to our channel, we do a lot of tech news reviews and giveaways, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also, if you guys are looking to upgrade your device or looking for discounted iPhones, make sure you guys check out the link in the description section that we're including you guys, hooking you guys up to some of the most cheap discounted iPhones you can buy right now on online. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. The first aspect of the iPhone that we like to talk about going into a new year is the hardware and how it is compared to some of the newer phones out there. So the iPhone 7, which was released in 2016, it's almost over 4 years since it's been released. A lot has changed, and the iPhone 7 also released with the iPhone 7 Plus, which is the bigger version of it. This is of course the 4.7 one, where the iPhone 7 Plus is a bigger one with the dual camera, and this one has a single camera. The starting price point was based on the storage that you got. The base model started around $649, and that was only for the 32 gig, which if you think about nowadays, 32 gig is not much. And then you were able to also get the 128 gig starting at $749, and if you wanted to max out on your storage, you were able to get it in the 256 gig, which was around $849. So almost $200 difference between the base 64 model of two versus your maxed out version of it. Let's talk about the actual feel and the body of the iPhone 7. As you see here, the iPhone 7 is pretty light in terms of hand. It's pretty compact on your hand, sits well. I have smaller hands, so for me, it does feel like it just sits right in the hand compared to some of the newer phones, which the iPhone 12 lineup, the regular version is a 6.1, so it's much bigger, so it's harder to grip on. And if you have a case on, it does take a bigger hand on it. So if you have a bigger hand, the iPhone 7 does feel really small compared to the newer iPhones, which they have really increased the size of it itself. And the body of the iPhone 7, as you can see, it used to have that older aluminum body, so it doesn't even have that glass back, which the newer iPhones have. As you can see here, this one, unfortunately, because it doesn't have that glass back, it's not able to do wireless charging like the iPhone 12 and some of the newer phones, starting with the iPhone 8, where Apple started to go all glass back so that you can do wireless charging. And Apple recently released the MagSafe charger for that specific purpose of doing wireless charging. Unfortunately, this phone does not have that. Let's talk about the actual chip on this phone. So the chip on this phone that you have is the A10 chip versus the newer phones, which has the A14 chip. So this generation of chip is 4 years old, which is expected because the phone itself is 4 years old. And we're going to talk a little bit in when we use the actual software what that means. But essentially, it is using an older version of the chip that Apple has released, hence why some of the applications might not perform as optimal on the iPhone 7, but later in the video we'll get to that. Let's talk about the camera build, which is the most important aspect, it seems, with the Apple iPhones, and why a lot of people love iPhones is because of their camera capabilities. The iPhone 7, as you see here, does have a single 12 megapixel lens back here first, and then a 7 megapixel front facing camera, and it is able to take some really good picture. It does take good picture, but not great compared to the triple lens camera that's available on the iPhone 12 Pro and the Pro Max lineup. But it's still able to do some pretty unique photography of pictures, although you don't have the portrait mode, which is available on the iPhone 7 Plus and the 8 Plus and some of the newer phones. In terms of video recording, you're still able to record up to 4K, but at 30 frames per second, which isn't bad compared to 4K on the newer phones, which is able to record at 60 frames per second. So if you go here, of course, to record video at the lowest setting, you have 720 HD at 30 frames per second all the way to 4K at 60 frames per second, which if you record at 4K, you're going to consume up a lot more memory, which is typical whenever you're recording at higher resolution. More consumption of the storage is expected, but you're able to record 4K and upload those videos on YouTube and such. So the iPhone 7 still has that great feature of the camera. Not as great as the newer phone, but we call it a decent camera still in 2021. Let's talk a little bit about the whole other part about the iPhone 7, which, when it was released, is that it took away the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which seems to be one of the bigger complaints when the iPhone 7 was released. Remember, on the iPhone 6 and the lineup, it had that 3.5 millimeter jack, where Apple decided to just do it with that so that they can add more speakers at the bottom and use that whole lightning port as the headphone jack itself. So you had to buy a new pair of headphones for that specific purpose, so you couldn't use the 3.5 millimeter. You also had the adapter in some of the phones, so either you had the old phone using the adapter or bought a new headphones, or nowadays you can actually connect it to the AirPods, so it is compatible with the first generation AirPods up to the Pro generation. So if you wanted to use headphones, of course Apple will charge you a premium for that. So let's get away from the hardware now, and we'll talk about the software of the phone. So the iPhone 7, as you can see here, it is updated to iOS 14. A lot of cool feature has been released on iOS 14. If you guys haven't checked out our video on iOS 14 review of on iPhone 7, make sure you guys check out, and then tips and tricks on using the iPhone on iOS 14. So the iPhone 7 initially, when rolled out, if you give setting it out of the box, it does have iOS 10, and it's up to iOS 14. So 4 generation of software has been released since the release of the phone, and we suspect that iPhone 7 will be getting one more update for sure. So iOS 15, most likely it will get the iOS 15 update. iOS 16, however, might not make it on the iPhone 7, hence why it's coming towards the end of the life on the iPhone 7 for a software update. But the good thing about the iPhone lineup and Apple in general is that even though it stops getting support for the iOS update, a lot of the popular apps like your social media apps, your banking apps, your productivity apps, your video stream apps will probably be still downloadable in one way or another. It's just that sooner or later it will be phased out when you will be forced to upgrade to one of the newer phones. Let's go walk through you guys through the app functionality of the different apps that we have. As you see here in the phone, we were able to download pretty much most of the apps. So if you're a person using it for social media, all of your apps such as Twitter, as you see, popped up, Instagram, no issue in terms of actually downloading and launching these applications. We're able to use all of our social media app, Messenger, to Facebook, all of those social media apps that everyone uses the iPhone for. It's pretty stable, works without any issue itself. And TikTok, of course, on the new or popular trending social media apps. All of those apps are downloadable on the iPhone 7. And if you're using it for watching videos such as the videos on YouTube, like you might be watching it right now on iPhone 7, as you see here, videos are able to download on the fly on this phone. If you're using it for Netflix, downloading pretty smoothly without an issue. The one thing about the iPhone 7 is that it is a smaller phone, so it does have that 4.7-inch display versus the newer lineup, which has a 6.1 display. So as you can see here, of course, the real estate on the display is much smaller. The iPhone 7 does have around 66% body to screen ratio compared to newer Samsung iPhones, where you see the phones with all screen body, which has around mid 85% or so body to screen ratio. That pretty much determines how much screen ratio you have compared to the body. So the newer lineup, the standard seems to be going at around mid 80. So that lower resolution affects in terms of whenever you're watching something. Of course, you were able to watch shows on Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all of those applications still runs. You're able to stream all of that, no issues whatsoever. But the screen, however, is a bit small for streaming. That's the one complaint I would have. But what if you're looking to do it for productivity application, all of your banking applications, as you see, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all of that opens up your transactional apps such as Venmo, as you see, they're able to open up with no issues whatsoever, and it just launches it up. But you do see that little bit of delay because it is an older phone. You're going to be expected to do that. How about listening to music on this phone? It still is pretty well versed in terms of listening to music. You do have the set of speakers at the bottom, and the quality is pretty premium, we would say, on the iPhone 7, although Apple does get away with the headphone jack and moving into the lightning port. The lightning port headphones do work really well, as we tested out in our video. So as you see here, if you're looking for this phone to do gaming, in the gaming aspect, if you're playing light games, games that are less heavy on the graphics, such as the smaller apps that you can play on most devices, the app we see work pretty well for this light graphic games. As you see, they're able to download and then you're able to start playing it, no issue. So if you're looking to just do light gaming on the iPhone 7, it's a good phone for that stuff. But what happens is once you start getting into games that are more heavy on the graphics, such as Fortnite, games that are meant to be played on the actual game console, is where you're going to start to notice that the iPhone 7, although it does have the A10 Bionic chip, doesn't have that much power for that. You're going to notice a little bit of lag on the game. We've seen that occasionally when playing some of the more graphics heavy game. It takes much longer to download all the resources and such, so you're going to be expected to wait a little bit longer, and here and there those little minor lag. If you play those heavy graphic games, you're going to notice it quickly because those games require the graphic to be as fast as possible. So that's for gaming. We would probably recommend, if you're gaming heavily, you probably want to go on the console. So there you guys have it for the software and the hardware review of the iPhone 7. So to answer the question, is the iPhone 7 really worth it going into 2021? Well, it's a kind of a yes or no question. Our preference would be the iPhone 7 is coming towards the end of life, and it might not even get the next major iOS update. So iOS 14 might be still debatable, and it might be not really worth it getting in 2021. What it might be worth it is if you're getting it as a starter phone to get a feel for iPhone, or if you're getting it from a small child or someone looking to really just do basic calling and texting and light browsing, it might be a great phone. But if you're looking to really get the most out of your iPhone, you might want to start looking into getting a more upgraded phone like the iPhone 12, which was recently released, or even the iPhone 10 lineup. And if you're looking for a small phone that still has the home button and then the top notch, and you still like that feel of that, having that haptic feedback on it, you might even consider a phone like the iPhone SE 2020 edition, which was released in April 2020, and that phone will last you good 4 to 5 years. And the phone is smaller compared to the newer phones, which are really big. And if you were still attached to that legacy design of the body, which is slim and lightweight and has all of that sort of compact but with a powerful, more updated chip, that's where the iPhone SE 2020 edition comes in. So it's a phone that, you're going to want to consider what you're looking to do with the phone. If you're looking to get on the most latest things like getting on to 5G, well, the iPhone 7 doesn't have 5G. You're going to want to go with the iPhone 12 lineup. That's where 5G has been probably the biggest feature Apple has introduced on its newer phone that Apple has released. But as we mentioned, for us, we would say the iPhone 7 is only worth it if you're a very light user of the iPhone or someone new looking to get started. But if you're a big fan of iPhone and you're looking to really maximize your per dollar spending on the iPhone, you might want to consider something newer, and it might be worth getting off the iPhone 7. So there you guys have it. That's our honest opinion and review of the iPhone 7 and if it's worth it or not in 2021. Hopefully this video was helpful. If this video is helpful, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you guys have any comment, leave it in the comment section. We love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about the iPhone 7 going into 2021? Are you guys still using it? Anything you notice, the performance, all of that, leave it in the comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.